Hi everyone, welcome to part 3 of this Metal Gear Rex build, and this is going to be a painting video where we're going to be painting the pilot for Metal Gear Rex itself, Liquid Snake. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys how I paint the model, and you can copy what I do, or you can use alternative paints from any other paint brand that you are familiar with. But the methods that I'm going to be using can be applied to not only the Liquid Snake model, but any model that you want to use. Say, be display figures, or Warhammer models, or maybe even something else. It's entirely up to you, but hopefully some of the methods that I have learned from painting Warhammer will be applied to how you paint your models, as well as how I've painted this Metal Gear Rex piece. So, grab your paints, fill up some water, and let's get painting. Before we fit the pilot, Liquid Snake, into the cockpit of Metal Gear Rex itself, we're going to want to paint it. So, we have it unassembled right here. Hello. And we are going to be using some Citadel paints from Games Workshop. Now, if you're not certain which paints to use, you can always use the instruction booklet as a reference. So, I have found out that Liquid Snake requires light brown for his trousers, a sort of darkish brown for his boots, a palish tone for his skin and his face, and a bit of a blonde look. So we're going to start off with painting the model right now. And the first thing that we're going to do is trousers. And the first paint that we're going to be using is XV88. So I'm going to give the pot a quick little shake. Hopefully there will be some paint in it. And I'm going to use a medium layer brush because I don't want to cover the entire model, and I want to control the paint itself. So I'm going to grab a dollop. Might use a bit more. There we go. Or more, depending. Right, then I want to add a bit of water to it. And as you can see from the picture, I want to make sure that it's flowing nice and smoothly. I want to make sure the brush has a nice tip to it, and then I can get started painting it. So we should be careful with this because it is a very light model and we do not want to break it. Doesn't look like it's coming off nicely. But anyway, it's the right kind of color for Liquid's trousers. So, might need to give it a few coats. Once the first coat is dried. So I did do a second layer of XV88, even though it was a bit funny. You can probably tell by the little mess here, but I'm really happy with the result that it's produced, and it kind of resembles the trousers that Liquid did wear in Metal Gear Solid. So now I'm going to move on to painting the boots, and for that I'm going to use Rhinox Hide. It's a little darker than XV88, but if I'm careful enough, I don't need to go over the trousers again. So again, like last time, before last time, grab a little bit of paint from the pot, add a touch of water to it, get it to a nice tip, make sure that's flowing off smoothly. There we go. And could be possible, like unlike last time, you might need to add 2 thin coats to it. So just take your time when painting this model. I had to apply 2 layers of Rhinox Hide just so that it had a nice solid solid look to it, and I'm now pleased with the result. So I'm now going to move on to the next step, which is painting Liquid's skin. Now he's a little bit paler than his brother Solid Snake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first apply a layer of Ungor Flesh onto the skin. Then I'm going to shade it all over his skin so that it adds a little bit of depth. But I'm going to be using Reikland Fleshshade mixed in with Lahmian Medium so that it tones down the shade a bit. I don't want it to be too dark, otherwise it's going to look off. Then I'm going to brighten up the raised areas of liquid skin with Ungor Flesh once again. So, starting off with that Ungor Flesh, just making sure that it's nicely shown. Here we go. Now, if you are familiar with Citadel Paints, Ungor Flesh is a layer paint, but I'm going to be using it as sort of a base paint. I don't want to add too much water to it. There we go. There we go, nicely coming off. Excellent. And if there was any mistakes that I made with the other base paints, I can immediately go over this with the Ungor Flesh. I may need at least 2 thin coats, just so that it has a solid look to it. And again, I'm also being careful so that I don't break off any part of the model. The paint has dried, and it does look a little bit pale. Not as pale as liquid, but it should be fine. So now we're going to be doing the shading process. So I'm going to start off with the Lahmian Medium. So I want about 4 brushes worth. Then I'll wipe off the brush. Clean it. Then apply the Reikland Fleshshade. So grab 1 part's worth here. Excellent. Now I'm not going to go crazy over the model, but I will try and be careful with it, because I don't want it going all over the leggings of the model. Just gotta take my time when painting. I'm painting this model right here. I'm trying this little change of position so that I can easily get to the model without trying to hurt my back. But anyway, the model has dried and it looks really good, but it is a little darker. So I'm gonna, well, let's see. I'm gonna compare it to the picture. And yeah, I think I'm gonna need to tone it down a bit. So I'm gonna apply a little more Ungor Flesh, but I'm not gonna paint it all over. I'm actually gonna paint it in select spots. So, still using my medium layer brush. I have a small layer brush just in case. Here we go, and I'm gonna make sure that it's up to a nice tip. Beautiful. So I'm going to try and paint more around avoiding the gaps, the lower drops in the body. So something like that. Trying to be careful and steadying my hand as I apply the paint. Of course, taking my time as I do this. Don't want to rush it. If I can, I will apply a bit of a spinal effect on liquid. Okay, so the paint is still drying, but whilst it does dry, we're going to try and apply the last bit of the color on the model, and that's going to be the hair, Liquid's yellowish blonde hair. So I'm going to start off with a base coat of Wraithbone, and then I'm going to apply a contrast paint called Nazdreg Yellow, but it's a little too dark and it's not going to fit the tone of Liquid's hair the way that we're going to want it. So we're going to apply some contrast medium to the color to tone it down quite a bit. So starting off with the Wraithbone. Go. Gonna have a nice bit of it here. And of course, turning it down with some water. I have changed the water. I gotta make sure that this is coming off nicely. And I'm gonna take my time with painting the hair on this one. Don't want it to go into any other parts of the model. And with the Wraithbone now dried, we are now ready to apply the contrast paint onto the hair. So first of all, I'm going to grab my contrast medium, give it a good shake, and I want about 4 dollops of this, 4 brushfuls, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Give the brush a good rinse. And dry it off nicely. There we go. Then I just grab some Nazdreg Yellow, shake it up as well, and apply good there we go. And again, like before, we want to be careful when applying the paint onto the model. Just want to make sure that I've covered everywhere. It will take quite a while for the paint to dry. There we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little painting video that I've done. Might not be the first one that I'll do here on the channel, but hopefully we will be doing some painting of the Metal Gear Rex model in the future. But for the time being, in the next video we're going to be working on the spine and the weapons of Metal Gear Rex. But if you haven't seen the part where I assemble the cockpit and the backpack of Metal Gear Rex, check it out in the channel, and of course don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this. Did you like my little unboxing video? If you did, why not check out my other content right here? I have a nice little video for a nanoblock set from a video game series, or I have a playlist right here for all of my past builds. And if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can help the channel grow, and ring the bell to get notified on my latest videos. Happy gaming guys, and I'll see you at the next unboxing build.